The door clicked shut behind Tom, his suitcase wheels rumbling down the concrete driveway like a fading heartbeat. Naomi stood frozen in the kitchen, coffee mug trembling in her grip, the steam curling up to blur her vision just enough to hide the tears she refused to let fall. She whispered his name into the empty house, but only the echo answered, mocking her with the silence of a marriage stretched too thin across years of unspoken regrets. Outside, the Seattle rain had paused, leaving the air heavy with the scent of wet earth and pine. Naomi set the mug down, her fingers lingering on the cool ceramic as if it could anchor her to something solid. At 35, she taught English to restless high schoolers, unraveling Shakespeare sonnets that spoke of love's cruel twists, while her own life read like a half-finished draft, pages yellowing with neglect. Tom, her husband of 12 years, was off again, this time to a conference in Chicago, promising calls that rarely came and returns that felt like interruptions. She loved him once fiercely, in the way young hearts do before the world wears them smooth. Now it was habit, a quiet erosion she told herself was normal. She wandered to the living room window, pressing her palm against the glass. The neighborhood stirred awake, joggers splashing through puddles, dogs tugging at leashes with eager yips. Across the street, the old Victorian house bloomed with color, its garden a riot of foxgloves and lavender that seemed to defy the gray skies. Kira lived there, the new neighbor who had moved in 3 months ago, her truck loaded with saplings and soil bags that she hauled with a grace that made Naomi's chest ache for reasons she couldn't name. Kira was 29, a landscape architect from Portland, with hair like autumn fire cascading in loose curls, freckles dusting her nose like scattered stars. She had knocked on Naomi's door one drizzly afternoon, introducing herself with a basket of fresh-cut peonies, their petals soft as whispers. "Thought your porch could use some life," she had said, her green eyes crinkling at the corners, voice carrying the warm lilt of the coast. Naomi had stammered a thank you, feeling exposed under that gaze, as if Kira saw the cracks in her facade the way she spotted barren soil needing till. That was the beginning. Small talks over fences about mulch and metaphors, shared laughs over the way rain turned everything to poetry. Naomi found herself lingering in her yard, weeding with less enthusiasm than curiosity, stealing glances at Kira's bent form as she sketched designs on a worn notebook. There was a pull, subtle at first like gravity tugging at the edge of awareness. Naomi dismissed it as neighborly warmth, but late at night, when Tom's side of the bed stayed cold, her mind wandered to the curve of Kira's smile, the way her laughter lingered in the air like perfume. Today, with the house echoing her solitude, Naomi grabbed her jacket and stepped out, the gravel crunching under her boots. She crossed the street without thinking, drawn to the garden like a moth to flame. Kira was there, kneeling among the flowers, her jeans smudged with dirt, hands gentle as they coaxed a rosebush from its tangle. She looked up, surprise blooming into delight. "Morning, neighbor." Escaping the quiet. Naomi nodded, words catching in her throat. "Something like that." She crouched beside her, inhaling the sweet tang of earth and blooms. Kira's proximity was a quiet storm, stirring eddies in Naomi's calm. They worked in companionable silence for a while, fingers brushing soil, the sun breaking through clouds to paint their skin gold. As noon approached, Kira sat back on her heels, wiping her brow with the back of her hand. "Hungry? I make a mean grilled cheese with herbs from the garden." Her invitation hung light, unpressured, but Naomi felt it settle deep, a warmth spreading through her limbs. Inside Kira's house, the air smelled of sage and sunlight, walls lined with sketches of sprawling parks and hidden groves. They ate at a scarred wooden table, cheese stretching in gooey strings, conversation flowing easy as the Duwamish River. Kira talked of her work, transforming urban lots into sanctuaries, finding beauty in the broken. Naomi shared snippets of her classroom, the spark in a student's eyes when words unlocked worlds. Laughter came unbidden, easing the knot in Naomi's chest. But as the afternoon waned, shadows lengthening across the floorboards, doubt crept in. Tom's flight would land soon, his texts already buzzing her phone with mundane updates. She should go home, fold laundry, wait for the routine to resume. Yet when Kira suggested a walk to the nearby arboretum, Naomi heard herself say yes, the word slipping free like a confession. The arboretum sprawled under a canopy of maples, paths winding through ferns and rhododendrons heavy with pink blooms. They strolled side by side, shoulders occasionally brushing, the air thick with the hum of bees and distant traffic. Kira pointed out native plants, her passion infectious, hands gesturing with the precision of an artist. Naomi listened, mesmerized, feeling seen in a way she hadn't in years. They paused at a meadow edged with wildflowers, the grass swaying in the breeze. Kira spread a blanket from her bag, a patchwork of faded quilts, and they lay back, staring up at the sky where clouds drifted like forgotten dreams. Silence wrapped around them, comfortable yet charged, the space between their bodies humming with unspoken possibility. Naomi turned her head, meeting Kira's gaze. Those green eyes held hers steady and soft, pulling at threads Naomi had long buried. "You okay?" Kira asked, voice low, thumb brushing a leaf from Naomi's hair. The touch lingered, electric. Naomi's breath hitched, heart pounding a rhythm she couldn't ignore. "I don't know," she admitted, the truth spilling out raw. "Everything feels off balance lately." Kira nodded, her own expression shadowing with understanding. "Life does that. Throws you curves when you're just trying to stand still." She shifted closer, their arms pressing warm against each other. The world narrowed to this patch of earth, flowers nodding around them like silent witnesses. In that moment, with the sun dipping low and painting the petals crimson, Naomi felt the dam crack. She leaned in, tentative, lips brushing Kira's in a kiss that started as question and bloomed into answer. Soft, hesitant, then deepening with the hunger of starved souls. Kira responded, hand cupping Naomi's cheek, a sigh escaping into the space between them. They pulled apart, breaths mingling, eyes wide with wonder and fear. Naomi's mind raced, guilt threading through the joy like ivy. Tom, the ring on her finger heavy as stone. But here among the flowers resistance crumbled, leaving only the raw pulse of want. As dusk settled, they gathered the blanket, walking back in a haze of flushed cheeks and stolen glances. At the street, Naomi paused, the divide of lawns feeling vast. "This, I shouldn't have." Kira touched her arm, gentle. "But you did. And it was beautiful." Her smile was a lifeline, tugging Naomi toward unknown shores. That night, alone in her bed, Naomi replayed the kiss, the taste of salt and sweetness on her tongue. Sleep evaded her, chased by whispers of what if. The house felt smaller, walls closing in with memories of Tom, of vows exchanged in haste. Yet the memory of Kira's touch lingered, a spark in the dark, igniting questions she had never dared ask. Days blurred into a tentative rhythm. Tom called from his hotel, voice tinny over the line, talking of panels and dinners that sounded like echoes of their early years. Naomi murmured agreements, her mind drifting to the garden across the way. She avoided Kira at first, guilt a heavy cloak, but the pull was magnetic, drawing her back. One evening, rain pattering against the windows, Naomi found herself at Kira's door, soaked from a sudden downpour. "Can I come in?" she asked, voice small. Kira pulled her inside without a word, towel in hand, rubbing warmth into her shoulders. They sat on the couch, mugs of chamomile steaming between them, the storm raging outside like a mirror to Naomi's turmoil. Words tumbled out then, confessions of a marriage frayed by distance, of dreams deferred for stability's sake. Kira listened, her presence a balm, sharing fragments of her own past, a coming out that shattered family ties but forged her into steel wrapped in silk. By midnight, the rain eased to a drizzle, and Naomi leaned into Kira's side, head on her shoulder. "I'm scared," she whispered, the admission cracking open vulnerability. Kira's arm encircled her, steady. "Me too. But fear doesn't have to win." Their lips met again, slower this time, exploring with the care of fragile things. Hands traced paths over clothes, igniting fires long banked. Naomi surrendered, if only for the night, losing herself in the curve of Kira's neck, the soft press of bodies aligning like puzzle pieces long separated. Morning brought clarity's sharp edge. Naomi slipped away before dawn, leaving a note on the kitchen counter. "Thank you for the shelter. Let's talk soon." Back home, she showered away the scent of Kira's skin, but the echo remained a haunting melody. Tom returned that afternoon, arms laden with airport souvenirs, his kiss on her cheek perfunctory. Dinner was strained small talk skimming surfaces. "Missed you," he said, but his eyes were distant, scrolling emails on his phone. "I missed you too," Naomi replied, the lie tasting bitter. That night, as he snored beside her, she stared at the ceiling, heart divided like a river splitting shores. The following week, work became refuge. In her classroom, surrounded by posters of poets and stacks of essays, Naomi poured frustration into lessons on forbidden love and literature. Her students sensed the shift, leaning in closer during discussions of Romeo and Juliet, their questions probing like fingers into wounds. After school, she drove to Discovery Park, the trails winding through salt marshes and forests, seeking solitude among the cedars. But Kira was there by chance or design, camera in hand, capturing the interplay of light on waves. They collided on a path, awkward laughs breaking the ice. "Want a walk?" Kira asked, and Naomi nodded, falling into step. Conversation meandered like the paths, touching on everything and nothing. Kira spoke of a project in Olympia, designing a community garden for at-risk youth, her voice alive with purpose. Naomi envied that fire, the way Kira chased beauty without apology. At the beach overlook, waves crashing below, Naomi stopped, turning to face her. "I can't stop thinking about you. About us. But Tom." Kira's expression softened, pain flickering. "I know. And I won't push. But I'm here, Naomi. Whenever you're ready to see what's real." The words hung heavy with promise. They parted with a hug that lingered too long, bodies remembering what minds wrestled. Nights grew restless, Naomi tossing in sheets that smelled of habit. She journaled by lamplight, words spilling like blood from a vein. What if love isn't a cage but wings? Tom's touches felt obligatory, his affections rote. She caught herself comparing the way Kira's gaze stripped her bare and rebuilt her whole. One Saturday, Tom announced a weekend golf trip with colleagues, oblivious to the relief flooding Naomi's veins. "You'll be okay?" he asked, packing his clubs. "More than okay," she said, the truth slipping free. With the house hers again, she texted Kira. "Garden help?" The reply came swift. "On my way." They spent the day knee-deep in soil, planting bulbs that promised spring's return. Laughter echoed free and bright, as mud caked their knees and sweat beaded their brows. By evening, exhausted and content, they collapsed on the porch swing, beers in hand, watching fireflies wink in the twilight. Kira's head found Naomi's lap, curls spilling like rivers. "This feels right," she murmured, eyes closing. Naomi's fingers threaded through that hair, heart swelling. "It does." The kiss that followed was inevitable, deepening under the stars, hands wandering with newfound boldness. Clothes shed like old skins, they moved inside, bodies entwining on Kira's bed in a dance of rediscovery. Passion crested in waves, Naomi crying out Kira's name like a prayer. Afterward, tangled in sheets, breath sinking, Naomi traced patterns on Kira's back. "I love you," she whispered, the words terrifying and true. Kira lifted her head, eyes shining. "I love you too. Have for weeks." Joy bloomed, fierce and fragile. But dawn brought the shadow of consequence, Tom's return looming like storm clouds. The next morning, sunlight filtered through lace curtains, casting patterns on their bare skin. Naomi woke to Kira's even breathing, the weight of her arm across Naomi's waist a anchor in the drift. For a moment, she allowed herself to linger, inhaling the scent of lavender from Kira's hair, feeling the rise and fall of her chest like a lullaby. But reality intruded, Tom's key in the lock, a phantom rattle in her mind. She slipped from bed, dressing quietly, each button a stitch closing the night's seamlessness. Kira stirred, reaching out. "Stay." "I can't. Not yet." Naomi knelt, kissing her forehead, the touch lingering like farewell. "Soon." Downstairs, coffee brewed strong, and Naomi sat at the table, staring at her phone. Tom's message glowed. landing at noon. Pick up pizza? The normalcy mocked her, a script she no longer fit. She drove home through neighborhoods awakening, coffee shops spilling aromas of fresh brews and pastries. The city hummed, fairies cutting wakes on the sound, but Naomi's world tilted, colors sharper, edges softer. At home she tidied with frantic energy, erasing traces of absence, preparing for the role of wife. Tom arrived with flour-dusted boxes, his grin boyish. Missed my girls cooking, but this'll do. They ate on the couch, his arm around her shoulders, recounting trip anecdotes with half-heard laughs. Naomi nodded, but her mind wandered to Kira's garden, the way petals unfurled under careful hands. That night, intimacy felt mechanical, Tom's hands familiar but distant, like maps to places long explored. Naomi faked moans, guilt twisting sharper than pleasure. Afterward he slept soundly, while she lay awake, tears tracing silent paths down her cheeks. How had it come to this, loving two worlds that clashed like thunder? The following days stretched taut, Naomi navigating the divide with careful steps. At school, she buried herself in grading, red pens slashing through papers like judgment. Students chattered about crushes and dances, their innocence a pang. During lunch she scrolled Kira's social feed, photos of verdant designs and candid smiles that stole her breath. Finally she caved, meeting Kira at a cafe in Capitol Hill, tucked among bookstores and murals. The place buzzed with artists and activists, air thick with espresso and conversation. Kira arrived windswept, cheeks pink from the chill, sliding into the booth with a grin that lit Naomi's core. They ordered lattes, foam hearts swirling in cups, and talked around the edges, weather and work as shields. But Kira's foot nudged hers under the table, a spark jumping the gap. "Tell me what's in that head of yours," she urged, voice soft over the clink of spoons. Naomi sighed, stirring her drink to spirals. Confusion. Guilt. You. The last word hung vulnerable. Kira reached across, fingers lacing with hers. "It's okay to feel it all. Love isn't tidy." Her thumb stroked Naomi's knuckle, soothing circles that eased the knot. They walked after streets alive with buskers strumming folk tunes, the scent of street food mingling with rain-washed air. At a park bench overlooking the market, they sat close, shoulders touching, watching vendors hawk tulips and trinkets. Kira's hand found Naomi's thigh, a quiet claim, and Naomi leaned in, their kiss brief but searing, hidden by twilight's veil. Separation came hard, Naomi driving home with lips tingling, heart pounding. Tom waited with dinner plans, a rare effort, steak searing on the grill. Over wine he opened up about work stress, pressures mounting like unpaid bills. Naomi listened, seeing him anew, the man she had chosen, flawed but trying. Tenderness stirred, mixed with sorrow for what was fracturing. "I love you," he said suddenly, eyes earnest. The words pierced. "I love you too." But even as she spoke, Kira's face flickered, a ghost in the candlelight. Sleep brought dreams tangled as briars, Naomi wandering gardens where flowers bled ink, Tom's voice calling from shadows while Kira's laughter pulled from light. She woke sweating, Tom's arm heavy across her, and slipped to the bathroom, splashing water on her face, staring at the mirror stranger. Work offered no escape. A colleague, Sarah, cornered her in the staff room, eyes sharp. "You seem distracted. Everything all right at home?" Naomi forced a smile. "Just grading overload." But Sarah's gaze lingered, knowing as if she sensed the shift in Naomi's step, the secret blooming beneath her blouse. After classes, Naomi sought solace in the library, shelves towering like sentinels. She pulled volumes of poetry, Whitman and Rich, lines leaping about bodies electric and desires unspoken. One stanza caught her. "This is the female form, a divine nimbus." Tears pricked, recognition flooding. She photographed the page, sending it to Kira with no caption. The reply, "Meet me tonight?" Naomi's yes was swift, a release. They rendezvoused at Golden Gardens, the beach park where bonfires dotted the sand, Puget Sound lapping gentle. Kira waited by the water, blanket spread, thermos of hot cocoa steaming. They sat wrapped in wool, stars pricking the velvet sky, waves a rhythmic whisper. Conversation deepened, Kira sharing her journey, the ache of hiding in a small town, the freedom found in Portland's rain-soaked streets. I built walls, she said, voice cracking slightly. Then you came along and they crumbled. Naomi's throat tightened. I'm married, Kira. Vows. A life. The words tasted like ash. Kira turned, eyes reflecting firelight. Vows can break hearts too. What about yours? Her hand cupped Naomi's face, thumb tracing jawline. The kiss ignited, urgent, salt on lips from sea spray. They tumbled to the blanket, hands exploring with desperate need, clothes barriers hastily shed. Under the moon, bodies arched inside, Naomi's gasps mingling with ocean roar. Ecstasy crested, leaving them spent, entwined, the world reduced to skin and breath. After, as embers died, reality seeped in. What now? Naomi murmured, head on Kira's chest. We figure it. Together. Kira's voice was steady, but Naomi heard the tremor, the fear mirroring her own. Home brought confrontation's shadow. Tom noticed her late return, brow furrowing. Out with friends. Yeah. Book club. The lice lit easy, corrosive. He nodded, but doubt lingered in his eyes. Bedtime silence stretched, Naomi feigning sleep, mind racing through scenarios. Confession, flight, stasis. Sunday dawned crisp, Tom suggesting a drive to Snoqualmie Falls, a ritual from early days. They packed a picnic, winding roads flanked by evergreens, mist rising from the roar below. At the overlook, water thundering, Tom took her hand. We've been drifting. I feel it. Naomi's heart stuttered. Me too. He squeezed, earnest. Let's try. Counseling date nights. For us. Guilt surged, hot and choking. Okay. But as they hiked trails slick with moss, her thoughts strayed to Kira's touch, the way it awakened dormant blooms. That evening, alone while Tom watched the game, Naomi slipped out to the garden, kneeling in dirt, hands seeking solace in soil. Kira appeared at the fence, silhouette soft in porch light. Couldn't stay away? Naomi rose, crossing to her. Never could. Their embrace was fierce, kiss devouring, but Naomi pulled back, tears spilling. Tom wants to fix us. And part of me wants that too. Kira's face paled, but she nodded. Then do it. But know this door stays open. Her voice broke on the last, hand lingering on Naomi's cheek before retreating. The week blurred, Naomi attending to Tom with deliberate care, cooking favorites, initiating touches that felt like penance. Yet desire for Kira simmered, a low burn. She declined invites, citing deadlines, but texts flew secret, words laced with longing. One rainy afternoon, school canceled for a teacher day, Naomi found herself at Kira's, knocking with resolve. I need to see you. Inside, they crashed together, passion a storm, bodies slick with rain and sweat. On the rug before the fire, Naomi wept through release, confusion pouring out. I don't know who I am anymore. Kira held her, rocking gently. You're finding her. That's brave. But bravery cracked under pressure. Tom surprised her with tickets to New York, a second honeymoon spark. Let's go. Rediscover. Naomi agreed, panic rising. Packing became ritual, but her heart lagged, suitcase heavy with unspoken farewells. The night before departure, she drove to Portland on impulse, 3 hours of highway blurring lights. Kira met her at a roadside diner, neon buzzing, coffee black as night. They sat in the lot, engine idling, hands clasped over console. I'm leaving tomorrow. With him. Naomi's voice trembled. Kira's eyes glistened. Then go. Be sure. Kiss goodbye tasted of endings, Naomi driving back with sobs racking, dawn breaking blood red. In New York, skyscrapers loomed, subways rumbling like veins. They walked Central Park, leaves crunching gold, Tom's hand in hers a tether. Shows on Broadway dazzled, dinners intimate, but Naomi's laughter rang hollow, eyes scanning crowds for red curls. One evening atop the Empire State, city lights sprawling, Tom proposed renewal. Marry me again? Here now for keeps. Naomi froze, wind whipping. Tom, words failed, truth clawing up. He waited, patient, but hurt bloomed in his gaze. Back at the hotel, she confessed fragments, not names but shadows of another. Shock rippled, questions tumbling, anger simmering low. I need time, Naomi said, packing alone that night, flight home solo. Seattle greeted gray, Kira's truck in the drive a beacon. Naomi knocked, collapsing into arms, story spilling in sobs. Kira listened, then let her inside, Beta Haven. Days merged, Naomi staying over. Tom's texts unanswered, turning to voicemails laced with pain. She filed for separation, papers crisp as cut ties, heart fracturing but freeing. With Kira, healing began, slow as root growth. They gardened together, planting futures in soil, whispers turning to plans. Tom's calls softened to amicable, divorce proceedings civil, a ending without venom. One spring morning, meadow calling, they lay among flowers, hands linked, sky boundless blue. This is home, Naomi breathed. Kira smiled, kissing her palm. Always was. Summer unfurled in waves of heat, Seattle's rare sun baking sidewalks, drawing crowds to lakes and ferries. Naomi and Kira navigated new rhythms, mornings tangled in sheets, coffee shared on sun-warmed decks. Naomi's classroom waited, but summer breaks stretched lazy, filled with hikes in the Olympics, trails scented with salal and fern, where they held hands openly, breath sinking to birdsong. Yet freedom carried weights. Friends questioned, Sarah at work lunches probing with gentle insistence. Who's the glow from? She'd ask, winking over salads. Naomi deflected at first, cheeks heating, but truth seeped, shared in hushed tones over after-school wines. Reactions varied, hugs from allies, silences from others, but Naomi stood taller, identity solidifying like clay fired. Tom moved to an apartment downtown, boxes stacked like barriers. Their first meeting, post papers, was awkward. Coffee shop neutral, air thick with unsaid. I saw it coming, he admitted, stirring cream endlessly. Should have seen you happier. Naomi reached across, touching his hand. You deserve that too. For someone. He nodded, eyes misting. Friends. Always. Relief washed, a chapter closed without bitterness, pages turning to grace. With space carved, Naomi dove into self, journaling depths, therapy sessions unraveling threads of doubt. Kira attended one, waiting outside, her presence a quiet strength. Proud of you, she said after, driving to Alki Beach, sunset painting waves tangerine. There, barefoot in sand, they danced to distant music, bodies swaying, laughter bubbling free. Kira dipped Naomi low. Kiss upside down, world inverting to joy. Fall brought changes, leaves carpeting paths in crimson, school resuming with syllabi in chalk dust. Naomi infused lessons with authenticity, assigning memoirs of queer icons, discussions sparking eyes wide. Students approached after, tentative shares of their own stories, trust-building bridges. Kira's projects boomed, a contract for a Seattle park redesign, community input sessions buzzing with ideas. Naomi attended one, seated in folding chairs, watching Kira command the room, passion radiating. Pride swelled, mixed with desire, stolen touches in supply closets, quick and heated. Evenings wove domestic, dinners of farm fresh, Kira's herbs elevating pastas, wine loosening tongues to dreams. Travel. Kira mused, one night, fire crackling. Southwest, canyons and stars. Naomi's eyes lit. Yes. Us under endless sky. The trip came mid-October. Flight to Albuquerque, rental car hugging red rock roads. Zion slot canyons echoed their whispers, hands linked over streams, awe shared in gasps. At a desert camp, tent pitched under Milky Way blaze, they made love slow, stars witnesses, Naomi's cries swallowed by vastness. Back home, routine deepened roots. Holidays loom, Thanksgiving a test. Naomi hosted small, Kira at her side, turkey carving mishaps dissolving to giggles. Tom's invite came polite, declined gently, new traditions budding. Winter gripped, rains relentless, but indoors warmth bloomed. They adopted a cat, sleek black with gold eyes, named Echo for lingering purrs. Cuddled on couch, book in lap. Naomi read aloud, voice weaving tales, Kira's head pillowed, content size punctuation. Challenges arose, subtle. Kira's ex surfaced, a Portland architect with lingering claims, text dredging old wounds. Naomi soothed, listening through nights, jealousy a fleeting shadow banished by trust. Naomi's family visit strained, parents from Spokane arriving bundled, questions veiled in concern. Tom was solid. This, her. Mother over pie, voice tight. Naomi breathed deep. This is me. Happy. Father's nod slow, but embrace at airport lingered. Acceptance tentative seed. Spring equinox, 1 year from that meadow kiss, Kira planned surprise. Drove blindfolded to the arboretum, path familiar. Blanket spread among same flowers, now riotous. She knelt. Ring simple gold band etched with intertwined vines. Marry me? Not vows but promises. To us. Tears blurred. Naomi pulling her up. Kiss ceiling. Yes. 1,000 times. Planning wove joy, invitations handwritten. Venue a garden overlook. Friends gathering under canopies. Ceremony intimate, words crafted personal. Rings exchanged with trembling fingers. Cheers echoing soft. Honeymoon in Hawaii, Big Island's lava fields stark. Beaches black sand warm. They snorkeled, reefs teeming, colors exploding. Naomi's hand in Kira's underwater. Bubbles rising like laughter. Return brought life layered. Naomi publishing essays on queer pedagogy. Words resonating online, connections sparking. Kira's park opened. Ribbon cut amid applause. Green spaces inviting wander. Yet depth called, shadows lingering. Naomi's 40th neared, milestone stirring introspection. Late night talks turned inward, fears of aging, relevance. Kira listened, then led to mirror, hands on hips. Beautiful. Every line tells your story. Intimacy renewed, bodies maps explored anew, touches reverent. Naomi learned Kira's curves afresh, sighs drawing maps of pleasure. Summer again, heat shimmering, they volunteered at community gardens. Hands dirty with purpose, teaching kids propagation, small miracles in pots. One girl, shy with braids, bloomed under attention, mirroring Naomi's path. Tom remarried quietly, invite extended. Naomi attending with Kira, toast sincere, past honored. Fall deepened, leaves symphony. Naomi's classes swelling with transfers drawn to her energy. Kira joined as guest, sketching landscapes, inspiring poems, crossover sparking. Winter solstice, lights twinkling, they hosted solstice party, friends mingling, mulled wine warming. Amid garlands, Naomi pulled Kira to balcony, snow flurrying soft. Grateful. For you. Kiss in flakes, cold lips warming, promise renewed. Spring's return, meadow pilgrimage, lying among flowers, hands on bellies dreaming futures, perhaps family paths unfolding. But life twisted, Kira's diagnosis came quiet. Doctor's office sterile. Words like tumors benign but watchful. Fear gripped. Nights huddled, Naomi's resolve stealing. Treatments wove, chemo days, Kira frail but fierce. Naomi bedside, stories read, soup simmered. Remission whispered eventual, but journey scarred, bonds tempered stronger. Through it, love's humanism shone. Care mundane made sacred, touches healing. Kira emerged, hair regrowing curls, spirit unbroken. Summer healed, beaches calling, bodies healing in salt. They swam, waves carrying burdens away. One evening, sunset bleeding sky, Kira turned. You saved me. Naomi shook head. We saved each other. Fall's harvest, gratitude journals filled, entries of small graces. Winter's hush, holidays heartfelt, traditions rooted deep. Spring eternal, flowers defiant, their love a perennial bloom. Yet story circles, Naomi reflecting in journal. From resistance to embrace, life's kiss irresistible. Years layered like sediment, time carving canyons in skin and soul. Naomi at 45, silver threading brown waves, taught with wisdom earned, mentoring new educators, her voice a steady current through turbulent semesters. Kira, nearing 40, led her firm designs greening cities, awards stacking like laurels, but home her true canvas, garden evolving with them, perennials marking anniversaries. Their home, once Naomi's with Tom, transformed, walls repainted sage, bookshelves groaning with shared volumes, cat successors patting silent. Morning's ritual. Coffee ground fresh, kisses lazy, plans murmured over toast. Challenges evolved, not absent. Naomi's mother visited more, thawing to Kira over teas, stories bridging gaps. Father's passing gentle, funeral words honoring complexities. Naomi's eulogy weaving love's spectrum. Kira's health vigilant, checkups routine, but scars reminded, gratitude deepened. They hiked yearly, Olympics peaks testing breaths, summits rewarding vistas vast, hands clasped against wind. Travel broadened, Europe one summer, Provence lavender fields echoing their meadow, hands wandering ancient streets, wines loosening tongues to futures. Asia another, Kyoto Zen gardens inspiring Kira's next line, Naomi penning haiku in margins. Community wove tight, queer center volunteers, Naomi facilitating writing circles, voices emerging raw, Kira landscaping grounds, beauty mirroring inner. Family grew chosen, nieces from Kira's sister, sleepovers chaotic with crafts and tales, Naomi anti-fierce, teaching sonnets, Kira botany. Tom's life paralleled, kids with new wife, playdates overlapping, histories harmonizing without haunt. Intimacy matured, less fire more ember, touches lingering, eyes speaking volumes. Date nights varied, symphony halls echoing strings, or dive bars with blues wailing, bodies swaying close. One autumn, Naomi's novel published, queer romance roots in soil reel, launch party intimate, Kira's dedication page, to the bloom that changed everything. Reviews praised depth, emotions raw, readers messaging thanks, mirrors held. Winter's grip, snow rare blanketing, they skied Whistler, lodges warm, fireside cuddles, laughter echoing slopes. Spring's thaw renewal, they fostered a teen Jamie questioning gender, home opening arms, guidance gentle, identity affirmed. Jamie's integration wove challenges, therapy joint, breakthroughs celebrated small, dinners family forged. Summer festivals, pride parades, rainbow riot, hands held high, history honored in marches. Fall's reflection, Naomi journaled. Love's not absence of storm but dancing in rain. Winter holidays, lights strung, gatherings full, toasts to resilience. Yet climax brewed subtle, Naomi's health falter, fatigue creeping, diagnosis autoimmune, treatments taxing. Kira mirrored past, role reversed, soup simmered, stories read, resolve mirrored. Through infusions Naomi leaned, Kira's arms haven. Remission came slower but sure, scars shared now. Healing hiked, paths gentler, appreciations amplified. Anniversary 10th, meadow return, flowers wilder, blanket worn, rings glinting sun. Lying side by side, hands linked, Naomi side content. Wouldn't change a petal. Kira turned, eyes green eternal. Nor I. This our forever bloom. Sky stretched infinite, breeze whispering approvals, love's kiss once resisted, now life's breath. In quiet moments Naomi taught still. Words on forbidden love's now triumphant tales. Kira designed sanctuaries, green lungs for souls seeking air. Friends wed, babies born, circle expanding, love's web resilient. Tom's call one spring, voice warm. Happy for you. Truly. Gratitude echoed, past gift to present. Aging graced, lines laughter etched, hair silver shared, bodies softer but sure. One dawn, balcony perch, coffee steaming, city stirring below. Naomi leaned into Kira. Thank you for seeing me. Kira's arm tightened. Thank you for letting me. Kiss soft, world awakening, their story woven into larger tapestry, humanistic thread. Love, messy profound, blooms were planted. Years more, retirements neared, travels dreamed slower, gardens tended lazy. Grandkids perhaps, stories pass oral, legacies living. In final reflection, Naomi penned epilogue. From husbands away, flowers lure, to kiss embraced, life's poetry unfolded. Emotions depths plumbed, romance eternal, humanism in every sigh, pause, bloom. Dusk fell often now, but light lingered inner, two women hands clasped, facing whatever horizon together. The end, not closure but continuation, whispers in wind, petals perpetual.